the Rotary Foundation picked areas of focus. There were proper name being were 6 of them that you see here. There's a brand new one now, the environment, and that's about a month old. And we expect that to help in fundraising, but also help in membership. There's a lot of people out there that are interested in the environment, and now we can highlight the fact that you can work on that through the Rotary Foundation. We've got a whole team to support you. I'm the chair for the next 3 years at the district level, and we've got annual giving chair, polio, grants. I'll go through some of these things as we go through it, but just so you know, and this is on the district website if you need more information or contact me directly, but we've got a whole team to support you in these efforts. So there's 3 basic elements of the Rotary Foundation, and I'll talk a little bit about each of them. 2 we talk about all the time, annual fund and polio. 1 we don't talk about, endowment, but we've got some big news on that this year. This past year for the district was an amazing year. Total giving was $7.4 million. That put us #1 in the world out of 530 districts in the world. A lot of that was the endowment. I'll talk about these individually, but past TRF Chair Russ Hobbs and our district governor Ramesh had an amazing year. Now, a lot of things came together. So let's talk about the different elements of it. Annual fund is one of the key ones because that's the money that then comes back to you to use for projects. I was looking at Almond and Valley's results last year, and they're wasn't exactly barn burning. You guys have been down over the last few years, both in per capita giving and also overall. But I'll be the TRF chair this year, and I'll be trying to work with you on improving that. Polio, look at the number there, $700,000 in 1 year. Again, we were very fortunate. We had a couple of people that are Arch Clump Society members. So I think most people here know what a Paul Harris Society member is. You give $1,000 in 1 year. Arch Clump Society, you give $250,000 to the Rotary Foundation. And we've had a couple of people do that and their spouses. And a couple of them were targeted for polio, and that's where the big numbers came in this year. But here's the other big thing that came in this year. We had almost $6 million of endowment money. These were bequests that were triggered by people passing away. One was a Rotarian that you may know, Bill Mayhood. He left about $1 million to the Rotary Foundation. One was from a non-Rotarian that through a Rotarian estate planner had worked with for a long time, and they donated $4 million, and there's about 800,000 more to go. So this is a big thing. We're going to be working on this now that we knew it was important before, but now that we really see the impact, and depending on how it's set up, that money can generate DDF to come back to your club, but I'll talk lightly about that later. But we got work to do. ERUI stands for every Rotarian every year. That's a goal that we have. As you see here, the numbers was 2,000 out of roughly 4,000 members. And all you have to do is donate $25 to the foundation to qualify for that. So there's definitely, something we're going to be focusing on this year. The good news, Paul Harris Society, I mentioned that's $1,000. We had 339 people doing that. That's $339,000 toward the annual fund. And that was a record year last year. But one of the easiest ways to contribute to the Rotary Foundation is Rotary Direct. I'll talk about that. We only have 112 members out of 4,000 again that are on that plan. And it makes it so easy and makes it good for us. So annual fund, it's the primary funding mechanism for local international projects. Basically, 1/2 of all the money that you donate comes back to the district, and in our case, the clubs. We give the money back to the clubs in a form of something called district designated funds. The rest of that is used to match funding for global grant projects. So it seems like magic. What charity can you name where you give to where you get more back than you donate? This is the only one I know of. So here's an example. A Rotary Club donates $20,000 to the Rotary Foundation. Then they have an additional $10,000 to use for a global grant. which with the Max to Match program lets you buy $8,000 of DDF. All of that gets matched. You end up with a $36,000 project when you put in 30. So you get more money back than you've given if you're doing a global grant. And I think you guys participate with Area 6 in the area level global grants. We can talk about that later. How does that happen? How can you get more money back than you give? Well, there's other districts that don't do global grants or other clubs that don't do global grants. So we've got a Max to Match, so we take care of that at the district level. So we get the money that other people are leaving on a table. I already talked about every Rotarian every year. We're going to be, handing out toolkit for your foundation person to work on the foundation. And like I say, Rotary Direct, it's real easy. You just sign up. It comes out of your credit card every month. Paul Harris Society. This is if you donate $1,000 in 1 year, you're a Paul Harris Society member. You guys had one person that did that last year, so congratulations. That's an important part of your giving. And usually we do some special recognition at the end of the district conference. Of course, we didn't have a district conference this year, so we'll figure what else we're going to do. Club Annual Giving Campaign, we're working on that. We're going to have a toolkit to help you. So that's basically the annual fund. Let me talk about polio. What's going on with polio? Well, you already heard overall that we had a bunch of money that came in, but we didn't want to just sit on our laurels. We still wanted to communicate to the clubs and tell them what's going on with polio. So what we did this year is we did with club visits. I don't know whether anybody did that one for your club or not. It might have been Russ that was trying to do them. No, for area, you're in 6. I don't know who was doing area 6. I did all the area 5 clubs. A couple of new things with polio. Right now, the Polio Plus infrastructure has been pivoted to be utilized for the COVID-19 pandemic. In other words, all of the screening and monitoring and tracking, and once we have a vaccination, the vaccination efforts, all of those utilities, if you will, that were created for polio, they've already been used for other diseases like Ebola and yellow fever over the last few years. And right now they're being used for COVID. People are being trained in the disease and what to do. And then we'll come back to polio later. There's still a matching from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation of 2 to 1. In other words, triple your donation. And another new thing is that if you use DDF for polio, it's now matched by the Rotary Foundation. So most clubs don't have a lot of DDF laying around. They've either already used it for their district grants by the end of the year, or it's tied up in a polio, in a global grant. But with the Max to Match program, you can buy DDF and get some of the leverage like I just talked about earlier. So endowment, I talked about how that's paid off for us this year. Being a major donor, that's when your cash donations to the foundation total at least $10,000. And again, at the district level, we've got hundreds of those. The Bequest Society, all you have to do is commit $10,000 to the permanent fund of the foundation in your estate plan. Depending on, I did it by just changing the beneficiary in my IRA, sorry. Or if you have a will, you can do that. But, the easiest thing is, just write a letter or something like that. And there's some new initiatives that we're working on. One is called GEPP, Gift and Estate Planning Professionals. So I told you about this case where we had an estate planning professional that through his activity and relationship with one of his clients ended up getting us $4 to $5 million. We want to clone him. And this is a program that's just starting by the Rotary Foundation to just solicit other gift and estate planning professionals. We have a list of people by, at least by profession from Club Runner that we've reached out to, and we're going to put them together into a group and do some best practices sharing and other training and whatever to give them the tools to present some of the to their clients some of the possibilities from the Rotary Foundation. And then we're also playing around with a donor database. They're publicly available donor databases to see who has the potential to give money there. So. And then this is something that our district does. It's not an official TRF thing, but if you are a major donor, which is $10,000 total, as I said earlier, if you're a member of the Bequest Society, which means you've signed up for at least $10,000 for that, and you're a Paul Harris Society member, which means you gave $1,000 one year, you get a triple crown. And you get one of these lovely crowns to put on at the district conference and get your picture taken there. So. And we've had, yesterday we reported out when we had our team meeting, I think we had 22 people in the district that qualified for all of these, and that was a record as well. So that's how we get the money, but that's not why we do all this. We do this to spend the money, and that's the grants, the grants program. We've got a strong team doing that. John Winston from the Santa Cruz Sunrise Club is the grants chair, and this year Gita Kandabi is co-chair, and we've got other people doing some of the district grants. And Gita works on the global grants. We've got really good training for both global and district grants now, and there are some things that are changing. If you did a global grant, and again, I think you guys typically would do it in conjunction with other clubs at the area level. In the past, DDF was matched dollar for dollar in a global grant, and cash was matched 50 cents on the dollar. The cash match just went away. So before that, we've got a program called Max the Match that I can talk for days about, but it's a program where we we have a DDF exchange to buy and sell DDF and make sure we get the most money from the Rotary Foundation. Before, it was worth it for you to take your cash and buy DDF versus putting it in directly at 50 cents. Now, since it's not, cash isn't matched at all, it really is important to use the Max the Match program. So again, if any of you are involved in global grants, we can talk more about that. If right now, if you're doing a global grant for the Corona, 19, that it goes through much faster. They're really working on how to do, how to streamline all the stuff, because we need to do that. We actually have a, we actually have a COVID disaster grant. There was a separate set of disaster grants, and we've applied for one, but we don't know how that is. We've had a lot of projects that have been disrupted. People were planning, and all of a sudden their international partners shut down. They can't do some stuff, but things are definitely kind of moving ahead. So let me, well, I'll look in the chat room later to see if I see questions that may be coming up. I'll handle those at the end. So the grants, I said about half of well, not half, about half the money comes back to the district in terms of DDF. That's, last year was $400,000. Typically about a third of that gets used for district grants. These are grants in your community. They're easy to do, very little paperwork. But the rest gets done for global grants. And the global grants, you got to jump through more hoops, do a sustainability analysis and a needs analysis. But then you get the global matching, and then you get your international partner that watches out for us. So again, not only are we the #1, in this case last year, giver in the world, but we're always one of the top ones. But we are the #1 user of Rotary Foundation money. We do an amazing amount of global grants, and we'll have a program that we'll be giving out in October for clubs like like this program, but it'll be much more focused on what we do with the money and the projects we do around the world. It's pretty amazing. And I'll give you a little bit of an example of that. Max to Match is something we created about 4 years ago to get some additional money. This was a surprise to me. Yesterday, John Winston had done some analysis over that period of time. We have received an extra $200,000 from the Rotary Foundation that we would have not received. So, you know, being a fundraising person myself for our club and now for the district, $200,000 doesn't come easy. And this was you know, we did a little work to put this together, but it's definitely paid off. If you do want to know more about global grants, go to the district website. Everything is there. It's kept up. John Winston does a great job. And we've got a new thing on a district website too. If you want to see all the global grants that are out there, which club is doing them, what countries they're doing them in, who's the contact, you can look there. So if you're interested in not doing a global grant yourself, but also if you have somebody in the club that's passionate about a certain country or a certain area of focus, you can just scan that and say, oh, I didn't know Oakland was doing libraries in Kenya or whatever it might be. And then you can partner up with them, you know, in addition to partnering up, like I said, at the area level. And this is what that spreadsheet looks like. We do Global Grant Scholars every year now. We've been doing that for the last 3 or 4 years. This is where we do peel a little bit of that DDF off the top before we allocate it to the clubs. So it's 15,000 of DDF that gets peeled off, gets matched. So you got a $30,000 scholarship, which is significant. Last year's Global Grant Scholar was a woman named Carson Smith. It was amazing. She's from Stanford and went over to England to do her work. I think she may be back now. I mean, that's the problem with, you know, exchange students and global grants and all of this. You know, the COVID thing has definitely impacted that. This year, we've already selected a new one. Her name is Abisola Kuniso, and she's going to Ghana. And she's also a Stanford graduate. So if you want more information about anything about TRF, everybody on the call should be getting TRF News Today that Ed Jelen does. And I've got to write my intro letter for that as soon as I get off this call now, because it's due tomorrow. And finally, just to remind people that the Rotary Foundation, you know, it has, you know, the top rating 4 stars, you know, 12 years in a row, probably 13. I think I did a slide last year. And that's the Rotary Foundation in a nutshell. So let me look in the chat room, see if there were specific questions there. And let me, first of all, I gotta go and close my thing so that I'll come back and, yeah. Let's see what's in the chat. Oh, somebody just had to leave. Okay. So now, are there any questions?
Well,
I gave you a lot of information.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions. One, as you know, in Area 6, we pool our international approach. How many clubs or groups of clubs do we have in the district that do that? Are we the only one?
No, Area, I think it's 3 does that as well. And they've done that for quite a while, 3 or 4. So, you know, it really depends. So some clubs, so Cupertino does a ton of international projects. It's just kind of been in our culture for a long time. So you're only allowed to have 10 open projects. And we're consistently butting up against that, where we got to be sure we're closing out an old one because we've got a new one. To be honest, it's, you know, it's part of our overall structure on membership. That's how, you know, Cupertino is 2/3 Asian. That's, we do, you know, I've been to China 5 times and India twice and Taiwan once among 12 international projects, just because we have partners there, and that makes it relevant to that community. So it's help with membership and good stuff too. So So Oakland does a lot of projects individually, but people are, if not forming a coalition like you guys do, an official one, still do some informal, trading, because it's hard. Even our projects, we get other clubs to participate, and we'll participate in there.
So, Orrin, I have a question. This is
Yeah.
Hi. So you covered a lot. It leaves me a little confused.
Okay.
You gave sort of the broad look of the of the whole Rotary Foundation. But where does a club like ours start? And I'm going to ask two questions in that regard. One is that we obviously have members who have not really gotten the culture of giving to the Rotary Foundation. And the second is that we have people, and I would include myself in this, and actually you just triggered that I really need to call membership because they don't have my records coordinated, that then you present to that group, which you did in a slide, but you kind of glanced over it, the measure of where they can go for their next step. Like I think I've given to Paul Harris 4 times.
Yeah. So what we're gonna, so a couple things. One of the challenges you guys have is your membership's been declining. So it's hard, it's hard to raise more money when your membership's going down, right? So, if I look at I printed out your record. So in 2016-17, you guys actually the annual fund gave $7,500 versus $2,000 last year. So now I forget who was DG then. And I know, one time you had, Roger and Angie in the club, and, it was different then. We're gonna work. So did you have a foundation chair? Are you the foundation chair, Joan, or?
I don't know what's going on with the club.
Yeah.
That's my point. My point is you got a lot of information, but I'm also asking you to offer some strategic guidance.
Yes.
For clubs from our club, which, as you know, I started the Los Gatos Morning Rotary Club and raised a lot of money in that club. But now we have this club. I'm in this club, and we definitely need to get on track here.
Yeah, no. So basically, I did glance over it. We are going to work through the foundation chairs. First of all, I'm going to identify the foundation chairs. So we'll be doing that. The president should be listing those, but we already looked. I saw a thing when I ran a report at the district level. Only 24% of the clubs had their goals in. Then I found out you couldn't even put them in until July 1st. So. We're going to have a toolkit and hand-holding and workshops and whatever else you need. So just come talk to us. We're available. Anyone else?
Brian, do we have a chair for that?
Has been Baker.
Oh, okay.
So this next year, I don't know who will be the chair.
That's Rebecca's call, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Orrin, a question for you.
Yeah.
I think it may be a self-explanatory answer, but one of the things that happened to Almaden is we have shifted to being an area that has first of all, a lot of commuters who don't work around here. So lunch meetings don't work for them because they're up in Cupertino or somewhere else. Although that's not the case now. However, when they can't, we have a hard time meeting them if we can't invite them to lunch. So that's item A. And item B pertains to Cupertino. Cupertino has a high Asian percentage in its membership. Almaden has shifted to a higher and higher percentage of Asian people down here, and I know them, some of them playing tennis, the young ones, but how the heck do we tap into our Asian community, I guess, is one of the things that if you know anybody who can help us figure that one out.
Well, I do a whole program on that too.
Oh, do you?
I mean, literally, you know, I mean, so in Cupertino, you know, way back when, you know, before I was, you know, any kind of leader in the club, we had a few people that did that, made it a strategic focus. I mean, they could see where things were going. So, you know, I'll give you just a couple of examples. So, our big community festival for 20 years was an Oktoberfest.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, it was Oktoberfest, and I owned my own Lederhosen and, you know, beer and, you know, bratwurst, you name it, you know. Well, that didn't exactly resonate with, you know, the population that we had. I had to write an article for our local paper explaining what a beer garden was, you know. And so, you know, that shifted now, and we, you know, I don't think we're going to have it this year, but we do something called the Fall Festival that's more family oriented. It's, you know, it's got an environmental zone and a health and safety fair. We partner with the World Journal, which is a large Chinese language newspaper. So we promote it to our own population to some extent, share the expenses. You know, our fundraising for our international projects was something called Western Elegance when I joined. It was a barbecue up at someone's house in the foothills here. He had, it wasn't his house, actually, it was his little ranch. So he would do a little horse riding exhibition for us, and the barbecue boys were there. And we went from that to Eastern Elegance in someone's house. We still were borrowing a house in Los Altos, and then we had Chinese food and whatever. And now it's called Global Elegance, and we, you know, have it, you know, kind of multinational. So there's just a bunch of things that, and also, like I say, the projects we do, I mean, you know, I've been to Africa and, you know, Mexico, and I was in Colombia, I was in Ecuador last year. And those are good things, and those are great, but they're not strategic. But the ones we do in India and China are strategic for us. And we have two partners in Indian organizations, the Shankar Eye Foundation and Pratham, and they donate money to us because we can put it in a global grant, and as you see, double their money. So it's a mutually beneficial partnership. I could talk about that. I got a program on that. Just a little thinking outside the box, and there is a tipping point thing. Once it starts, it's much more self-fulfilling. Fremont did that. You know, Fremont's got the same ethnic mix as Cupertino, basically, and none of their clubs really were doing that. The Fremont Noon Club has really made a significant effort in the Chinese community. And some clubs haven't. You know, I use Milpitas as an example. Same size city of Cupertino, same ethnic mix. We have 210 members. They have 30. But the flexibility was the other secret to Cupertino. Long before RI said they didn't care about attendance and stuff, we don't.
Yeah. Hey, somehow, can you guys hear me? Because I kind of muted myself.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. We have like, first of all, John Baker is the foundation chair, and it's in our newsletter. So I hope everybody reads our newsletter. So I plug in that. But we have two projects, that one we just started working on, and another one we've been working on for a few years. One of them is called the Ting project, Ting Pagoda. It's replacing, it's replacing one that we're still trying to figure out how it got there. We don't know, but we have some of, like you say, some of the Asian community involved in that, the Chinese specifically, and we're still like trying to figure out where did this thing come from. So when we do start fundraising, we can say it's authentic or this thing was stolen. You know, I mean, that's what it's come down to. It's stolen in the 1850s, which I still think is an interesting story. And so that's, and then the other project we're working on is to put in a all-inclusive park at Almaden Lakes.
I saw that, that's great.
Sort of the same thing that San Jose Downtown Club did. Did they, I mean, is there ways that we can also get into the getting grants or funding from Rotary International for like the Ting project or from other clubs?
So that's interesting. In general, that would be handled as a district grant. You know, because you know the global grants need an international partner, and they have to be done internationally. Now, historically, you could have what's informally called a reverse global grant. So let's say you had a partner in, I'll just say Brazil, that wanted that their project, just like we want to do a project in China, that somebody in Brazil wanted to do a project in Almaden Valley around that, you know, whatever you wanted to do. In the past, the problem with that is that they had to supply most of the money. That's changed now. That's another little subtlety that's changed now, where now the incoming club, which you guys could still have to generate most of the money, but your international partner would be there to make it global grant eligible and get the match for it. So it'd be interesting if there was a, you know, potential, especially for the pagoda one, if there was a potential club in China that would want to participate in that. So we can play around with that a little bit more with John Winston, our grants chair. Because yeah, getting the match is a big thing. It, you know, doubles your money or more.
Yeah. Okay, and what about the downtown club? Did the Rotary get money from the district or anything to help, or was that all?
No, that
funded?
was strictly their local fundraising. So there's other Santa Cruz did something called Leo's Haven. It's an all-inclusive playground, and they partnered with the county there and did some things. I can get more information on that.
Yeah.
We were looking at doing that in Cupertino for, you know, we've been trying for a few years to come up. We have, with our own foundation, we've been putting money away, and we spend quite a bit every year, and we have a major beneficiary for our golf tournament. But we've been stacking some money away for a multi-year project, something bigger, like what you're talking about. Okay. And we were going to do an all-inclusive playground, but you know, the city now, I think, is, you know, they didn't need us to help, and we didn't want to do it unless we had enough of a clout to get our name on it and stuff.
Right. Okay. All right, good.
So speaking of fundraising, that's been a challenge in the COVID area. What did you guys do? Did you guys have I saw you had a dinner, so now you're making that a virtual dinner, right?
For the a virtual a dinner for awards dinner, you mean?
No, I thought you had a fundraising dinner that I saw.
No, we kind of been using some of the people from the downtown club to help us, and we're in the real planning stages and trying to look for big donors to do the most. And I think eventually it would be a community meeting, and then starting with, you know, with that to get the smaller donations. So
I saw you were thinking about Johnny Kim. Who's running to replace him? Or
he already Matt Mayhem, and he already won, so he's in there.
Okay.
We've been talking to him about it too. So there's kind of a transition going on between those two, but it's going to be interesting. I mean, they already have money from the county, and the city's got money to rebuild the park, because the park's they're going to redesign the whole lake. To get the all-inclusive part of it, that's what we have to fundraise. So yeah,
like I say, check with Santa Cruz Sunrise, or just look up Leo's Haven. I know that I don't think it's Rotary driven necessarily, but there's one in Palo Alto too. I mean, it's, you know, and these are on a obviously much smaller scale than the San Jose one. It cost them, you know, several $1 million.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, Joan, did you have some more questions? Joan?
Oh, are you talking to me, Ron and I? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think my questions are really you know, I would say I think the foundation is really important.
Yeah.
My questions are really more related to, you know, how our club's working and doing and, you know, growing as, you know, one piece of the district in this regard. So
Okay.
I'm sure Tom Baker could use any help he could get.
Yeah.
I think my question to Orrin was really, you know, aside from the details, you know, what is the outreach of the district to help us in this regard?
Yeah, like I said, we're going to have a toolkit. We're going to do area workshops. They'll be virtual this year, I'm sure, which might have been good anyway, because it's, you know, except for getting the free pizza that we're getting at them, you know, I mean, if you got a small group like this, virtual works really, really well. So,
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
well, let me
cool.
know. Anytime you need me to talk about anything else, I can talk about anything forever.
Yeah, I might schedule next month. So I'll check out the date for you. You can talk about, you know, how we could rebuild our club. That'd be great.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
All right, thank you.
Orrin, thanks.
All right, does anybody have anything else?
Yeah, let me mention.
Thank you, Orrin.
Whoops, what happened here?
That's Rebecca.
One thing, when you've been talking about John Baker, Joan's been in the hospital since Saturday.
Oh.
They haven't been able to determine why her legs are swelling up. So John's been sort of out of commission too because of that.
I'm sorry, Rebecca, can you talk again?
Her screen's
Rebecca,
still.
you're frozen.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
connection's been a little wonky today.
I lost it on my other computer.
I'm
I
right
wonder,
here.
there she is. Yeah?
Try turning your
Hi.
video off, Rebecca.
Yeah.
I can hear her. There she goes.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay.
I've been here. I'm up in the mountains right now, so my internet is really shoddy.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Yeah, we heard you.
Most people can.
That's because you have a
Orrin,
voice.
thank you, Orrin. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. So I actually went up with my family to Pinecrest and Strawberry a few weeks ago, and I was checking because I love being connected, and I had to attend a Zoom meeting, and I found AT&T wasn't, forget it, you know, but Verizon worked. So I ended up buying for $70.
Yeah.
I bought a Motorola, really nice phone, and a $50 prepaid plan, and for $120, had good connectivity. It was crazy, but I couldn't believe I bought this phone new for $70.
Wow.
Crazy out there. Definitely not an iPhone, but pretty damn nice.
All right.
All right,
And
guys, we'll see you.
yeah, we'll see ya. Okay,
Thanks.
Greg, you need a haircut.
Whatever.
How's your dad?
He's good. He's at home. He wasn't with me, so I couldn't put him on.
Okay. Rebecca, you want to say something?
Something?
There you go. Okay, well, I'll see you all next week.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Brian.
All
You
right,
have a
talk to you
speaker next
later.
week, Brian?
Yeah, I have a speaker.
Yeah, next week. It's a Eagle Project presentation.
An evil project or an eagle project?
Eagle.
Eagle, okay.